The illusion of regulatory alignment is over. For more than a decade, multinational firms operated under a stabilizing assumption. Regulatory systems were moving toward alignment. Financial reporting standards were converging. Sustainability disclosure frameworks were coalescing. Data governance rules, while imperfect, appeared directionally compatible. That era has ended. Instead of harmonization, companies now face accelerating divergence across climate disclosure regimes, supply chain transparency mandates, carbon pricing structures, data sovereignty rules, and enforcement philosophies. For executive teams, regulatory fragmentation is no longer a policy tracking exercise. It is a control systems stress test. Internal controls were built for alignment. Most enterprise control frameworks were designed in a period of relative regulatory predictability. They rely on shared definitions of materiality, coordinated disclosure calendars, unified data taxonomies, centralized reporting assumptions. Cross-border divergence breaks those assumptions. Materiality standards differ across jurisdictions. Scope definitions shift, disclosure timing misaligns. Subsidiary level exposure may be immaterial in one market but reportable in another. When those definitions collide, internal controls strain. What begins as compliance complexity quickly becomes operational friction. Duplicate validation processes, parallel reporting tracks, manual reconciliation between regimes, increased probability of disclosure inconsistencies. Control frameworks optimized for convergence are not automatically resilient to divergence. The financial risk is expanding quietly. The most significant consequence is not regulatory penalty, it is control volatility. Audit scope widens when reporting frameworks diverge. Assurance costs rise. Disclosure sequencing risk increases. Investor scrutiny intensifies when multinational disclosures differ across filings. Insurers are beginning to evaluate governance and disclosure volatility as underwriting variables. Lenders are incorporating jurisdictional exposure into risk models. Boards are asking whether current control architecture is designed for structural misalignment. The cost impact may not appear as a single line item. It emerges through friction, expanded audit hours, delayed filings, increased internal testing, governance redesign expenses. Fragmentation is gradually moving from compliance budgets onto enterprise risk models. Governance architecture is being reconsidered. The executive response is no longer incremental. Leading firms are reassessing structural questions. Should global compliance oversight be centralized rather than regionally siloed? Can reporting systems produce jurisdiction-specific outputs from a common data spine? Does internal audit require cross-border scenario testing? Are capital buffers adequate for disclosure timing volatility? Some organizations are forming cross-jurisdiction regulatory councils at the executive level. Others are investing in modular reporting architecture designed to accommodate divergence without full duplication. These are architectural decisions, not staffing adjustments. They require board visibility. Regulatory divergence as a design constraint. There is little evidence that global regulatory regimes will rapidly realign. Political transitions, regional economic priorities, and enforcement philosophies suggest continued misalignment. Treating fragmentation as temporary invites structural weakness. Treating it as a design constraint forces stronger systems. The companies that preserve control integrity in the next phase will not be those that track every rule change. They will be those that redesign governance and reporting architecture around permanent divergence. You've been listening to Sustainability Soundbites by Environment and Energy Leader. For partnership opportunities, please reach out to our team.